actually word, phrase, clause, and sentence. This will help us to get us prepared for learning and studying simple complex compound. Yeah, one of the say what toughest topics among us students and learners. So I'm Mohammad Mustafa Hussain, and let's start. Let's see. So this video will be closed and finished very soon. Just if you need to have some clarification, just go over and over. Okay. So before diving deep, let's have a look at our language sector in short. Okay, so yeah, definitely an old one, a native person, right? So on that time, they talked about some kind of, uh, um, say what, it's not something easy. The language on that time, it's not something easy, right? It was actually kind of confusing. It's not clear, and most of all, it was painful. Yeah, the language was painful because on that time they used to uh, slap and do so many things with their body to reveal their thoughts and reveal the language, right? To express their meanings, the thoughts, everything else. But gradually, they discovered our whole language system, the articulation system, and everything else. They we actually understood that we could use our lungs, our mouth, a lot of things, kind of complex things, but it's easy for us to use, and we can easily produce language. We can easily use language. We don't we don't need to slap ourselves. That's all. And we gradually discovered these things, and we started using those things, right? Our own language machine. But wait, yeah, there is a question. What about writing? Yeah. So gradually we developed art, we developed so many sign languages, and we started to draw them in the cave and somewhere else on leaves. And gradually we developed our own language system. It's basically different. It's different than from our country to your country to others' country. But gradually we developed our language, our written part. Okay, so what is a word? It comes first. A word should be meaningful, definitely, like PPALE. We don't understand the meaning. We cannot visualize something like PPALE, right? So when we write apple, APPLE, we get a totally good picture of apple. It is connected with our say what uh, previous experience. Okay, it pokes our experience, previous experience. So in linguistics, a word of a spoken language can be defined as the smallest sequence of phonemes that can be uttered in isolation with objective or practical meaning. Okay, but yeah, there is a catch. If a word is used in a grammatically correct sentence, it is also called beside a word, a part of a speech. So we give a kind of designation to a word if that is used in a perfectly grammatically corrected sentence. Then we call them beside a word, we call them a part of a speech. And there are 8 parts of a speech in English. Then comes phrase. What is phrase? It is one plus words, more than one words. United meaning, I mean, those words unitedly will mean something, and there is no subject verb agreement. Okay, so in linguistics, a phrase is any group of words often carrying a special idiomatic meaning. In this sense, it is synonymous with expression. Okay, what is a clause? It is one plus words. It is part of sentence or complete sentence, complete one, and it has to have a subject verb agreement. In linguistics, a clause is a part of the sentence that contains a verb. A typical clause consists of a subject and a predicate. Okay, for say what example, we can say that if I say to you, All right. Walking in the morning is good for health. Here, walking in the morning is a phrase. Okay, because walking in the morning, they unitedly say what means something, right? They unitedly mean something. They are not different. They are not separated from each other. Okay, they have meaning individually, but in this sentence, walking in the morning is good for health. Walking in the morning, they combinedly, unitedly meaning something unique, right? So again, walking in the morning is good for health. Here it's a clause because walking in the morning is, it has subject verb agreement, so it is a clause. So basic types of clause. First, we get independent. We also call it principal clause. So an independent clause or a principal clause can fulfill the meaning of the sentence by itself. It has a proper subject verb agreement, like loving our family, we stick together. Yeah, we have to love our family. If you want to judge people, very first, you can ask them about their family. From their thought about their family, you can easily judge them, whether they are good or bad. And then comes dependent clause. We also call them subordinate clause. So a subordinate clause or a dependent clause has subject verb agreement as it's a clause. It can't fulfill the meaning by itself alone, okay, and needs support of an independent clause. Definitely, as it cannot fulfill the meaning by itself alone, it needs support. Okay, it's not complete by itself. It needs support of an independent clause, like as we love our family. Yeah, if I tell this to you, as we love our family, what does that mean? Yeah, we have desire to know more. Then what? As we love our family, then what? Then if I put a, say what, a principal clause or an independent clause, like we stick together, as we love our family, we stick together, then we are cool. Yeah, I get the idea. Yeah, okay, you're right, right? So next comes coordinate clause. Next comes coordinate clause. So we know this mathematical term. So it can be found in a compound sentence. You can find it in a compound sentence. Here, one is another's coordinate clause, like a, a compound sentence connected by fanboys, especially by and but. Here, fanboys means for and nor, but or yet so, but especially we use and but more often. And for example, we can say we love our family and stick together. Like I was saying, here we love our family is a coordinate clause of stick together, and stick together is a coordinate clause of we love our family. Here, stick together has a subject of we, as both clauses have same subject. I haven't put the subject separately again, we. You can say we love our family and we stick together, but it sounds kind of unprofessional, so we use we love our family and stick together. However, this is the idea of coordinate clause. Okay, so then comes sentence. Okay, so word, phrase, clause, then sentence. So word builds phrase, phrases may build clause, and clause or clauses may build a sentence. A sentence is a group of words, parts of speech with a proper subject verb agreement that are put together to mean something. Yeah, you have to understand. You have to get the meaning. A sentence is the basic unit of language which expresses a complete thought. Okay? It will express a complete thought. You shouldn't have a desire. That is, subordinate clause. Part of sentence, not full sentence. It does this by following the grammatical basic rules of syntax. Okay, you can say the alphabet of grammar syntax. So a sentence, there are many kinds of sentence, but I'm actually talking about the sentence based on construction. Okay, so according to the construction base, there are three kinds of sentence: simple, complex, and compound. How about in simple, the number of clauses is 1. So we can say only one independent clause or principal clause equals to a simple sentence. For example, loving our family, we stick together. Here, only one subject verb agreement. We stick. Loving our family is a phrase here. How about complex? Number of clause 2 at least. Yeah, there can be more clauses. Okay, at least one independent and one dependent clauses. Like complex sentence: as we love our family, we stick together. As we love our family, we stick together. Okay, so as we love our family, it's a dependent clause, and we stick together, it's a principal clause or subordinate independent clause, right? How about compound sentence? In compound sentence, we get two clauses, right? At least two clauses. We love our family and stick together. Okay, so at a glance, what have we got here? A pair of subject verb agreement is equal to one clause, right? Subject verb, one subject verb pair equals to one clause. And then one independent clause only, a simple sentence. One independent and one dependent clause equals to a complex sentence. And two, both, if they are both independent clauses connected with conjunction like fanboys, they are compound sentence, right? So when we will do transformation like simple, complex, compound, and vice versa, you have to remember these clauses. You have to identify the phrase. You have to identify the pattern. Like if you want to say transform from a simple sentence to a complex sentence, you have to remember that that simple sentence that should have one subject verb agreement, but now you have to create two subject verb agreements, and one has to have something, some sort of portion that will create a kind of desire to you, and that is subordinate clause. And to fulfill that subordinate clause and the meaning of the sentence, you have to add an independent clause or principal clause, right? And if you have to do from complex sentence to simple sentence, you have to remember that that complex sentence, there is some subject verb agreement or portion of clause that is called subordinate clause, and from that subordinate clause, most often you have to make a phrase and make a proper simple sentence with one subject verb agreement. However, in compound sentence, you have to just do, you have to make totally two different and definitely independent and principal clauses. You have to connect them with conjunction like fanboys, for and nor, but or, yet so. Okay, so that's all. Thank you very much.